RTS, a glorious genre of esports which gave birth to competitive gaming as we know it. Do you like playing games with friends and having fun? Well, you're wrong! That's some pussy-ass shit! Play an RTS game where you'll spam thousands of keys, study hundreds of builds, and probably break tens of keyboards along the way. After you put in the work equivalent to getting 3 PhDs, don't even think about buying a ticket to Seoul, you casual bitch! You think 8-hour shifts are long? Try 16 hours of 300 actions per minute with no breaks! And maybe then you could be up there with the sweaty Koreans and get a bad case of carpal tunnel, so long as you don't need literal surgery for your wrists that have now wasted away to bone. And you bet you'll get your ass back in front of your computer and hit the goddamn ranked button.
Okay, I will admit that might have been a little bit exaggerated, but I didn't say anything that hasn't actually happened before. Kespa houses were notorious for their long hours. It's not uncommon for pros to be afflicted with painful injuries, and as for the keyboards, well, let's just say their fate is player dependent.
Baby squirrel use a sexy motherfucker.
Give me your attention, baby.
But every game has its own stereotypes, whether it be League of Legends players all wish your mom has cancer, Smash players have never stepped in a shower their entire lives, or World of Warcraft players are all fat basement-dwelling neats. While obviously these don't apply to the majority of players, to some extent these stereotypes do have a grain of truth in them. The definition of a stereotype is a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular type of person or thing. Anyone in their own game community may hold stereotypes about other communities, or even communities within their own game. Whether you think all Protoss players have no skill,
it doesn't take anything,
or all Yasuo players can't end a game below 10 deaths.
Dying's the easy part.
Games can even hold stereotypes within themselves about different aspects within the game. These can be based entirely on what character you play, or even what playstyle you may employ. But what's important is how stereotypes are widely held and oversimplified. This view, which is from the outside of a group, can have much more influence on the group than its members may even realize. The view of StarCraft 2 being touted as such a difficult game has propelled it and its players into legend, but I feel that it may have been at the cost of much of the potential player base. Don't get me wrong, StarCraft 2 is not an easy game to get into if you're looking to get into the competitive side, but the problem is that the perception of StarCraft was built from the competitive side. Most people probably don't know StarCraft as the game with cool user-generated content and a fun campaign, but instead know it for the hardcore competitive minority.
Are you, like, in general happy with the way co-op has been going so far, like, say, compared to the multiplayer? Because for a while I heard there's a lot of people that go from, like, say, campaign and then they try some co-op and maybe eventually some multiplayer. But in general, are you happy with, like, the amount of players that you see in
Tremendously happy. We see about 80% of the people that love the campaign, and only 20% stick around for the hardcore multiplayer. I mean, these are the really hardcore, engaged, competitive players.
Is that like 80 to 20?
Yeah, it drops like that. So, you know, for a long time we've been saying, how do we help these people stick around? Because they obviously love the game.
Yep, that's right. It's a known fact that many, if not most players that pick up StarCraft may never even play a single ladder game. So many people only see StarCraft as the hyper-competitive 1v1 that we all know and love, but they miss out on the most amazing content in gaming. Some of the most currently popular genres of games, like MOBAs and tower defenses, can trace their roots all the way back to StarCraft and Warcraft user-generated maps. And my fondest memories playing StarCraft is from running through the campaigns for the first time, and spending hours discovering the most amazing and creative arcade maps I've ever seen, not the years I spent grinding ladder and competing in tournaments. In my foray into collegiate esports as the founder of StarCraft at UVA, interacting with other players from different games is just saddening. Whenever I told people that I played StarCraft, they had usually heard of it, but then I'm always met with the same, "Oh damn, you played that game? That's crazy, I could just never get into it, it's too hard for me." So then I respond with,
"Why not, you stupid bastard?"
The more times that I was met with the same exact reaction of, "Wow, that's cool, but it's too hard for me," the more my pride of learning this difficult craft turned into dismay. I mean, how am I even supposed to build and maintain a thriving community when potential new members are just completely unwilling to even try the game? I fear that this perception is prevalent not only in the collegiate esports scene, but is representative of StarCraft and RTS as a whole. There are many games which are as difficult as StarCraft, whether we like to believe it or not, that don't suffer the same kind of stigma. Games like League of Legends have little issue attracting other players because you can just play some casual games with your friends, despite having more champions than units and buildings in StarCraft 2 combined. Each champion with 4 abilities, a unique passive, and different item builds depending on each game. Or you could try playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with 89 characters that all have different moves, different weight properties, fall speed, frame data, air acceleration, walk speed, jump height. And this is Stereotypes as the casual party game of the fighting game community?
The party game in some way.
I stream Smash 4 when I want to have fun.
Wow. More gauntlets there.
Of course, Melee players have also heard their game referred to as...
Just because games are complex and have lots of information to know with high mechanical skill ceilings does not necessarily mean that they should have this aura of higher being where people are even afraid to touch the game. It is possible to have a complex and difficult game that's also widely successful and popular. I mean, chess is one of the most classically competitive 1v1 games out there, and yet its ease of access and popularity are second to none. And I think this is the most important lesson that new RTS developers seem to have taken to heart. Throughout every interview I've seen of Frost Giant, what's always emphasized is the player pathway. There is a clearly defined way for new players to get into the game.
We feel like part of the variety and the key ingredients that make a lot of other genres such as MOBAs, Battle Royales, Roblox, for example, very part of those ingredients that make it very successful is the virality of it and the social aspect. And we learned a lot of those lessons as well from the introduction of the co-op mode.
I've also directly referenced Immortal Gates of Pyre articles in my previous videos, as they too have a deep understanding of how to play the casual competitive skill balance. So if what seems to be the next generation of this genre is to succeed, we need to change the culture around it coming into the new era of RTS games. I mean, is the unit padding going to be important? Yes. Is the balance between team and 1v1 game modes going to be important? Of course. But if these games are trying to propel RTS into the mainstream and usher in the era where #RTS returns, then the community is going to need a dramatic shift in perspective. These new games are giving us the tools to do so, but it's going to be up to us to change the culture around RTS by welcoming new players and getting people into our craft. Or as AD Carry legend Doublelift said when talking about the decline of North American League of Legends,
one thing that always bugs me is when people say shit like, Ninja, go back to Fortnite. Ludwig, go back to just chatting. Quit the game. You're not good at it. And it's do you want the game to die? Do you actively want, the game that you spent your entire life playing to just evaporate in player base? Because the less welcoming you are to new players, the quicker that the game is going to die. It's definitely a huge part of the fucking problem. I mean, you guys say yes because you probably, have a love-hate relationship with the game, but I want League to succeed. I want League to grow. I want League to thrive. I fucking love this game. I love playing in I love playing LCS. I love the community, even though the community is insanely toxic and honestly a huge part of the problem. But it's just so crazy to me that I think the same people who spread that negativity are gonna be the same ones who complaining oh my god, the viewers, the numbers are going down. It's yeah, I wonder why, man. Anytime a streamer is coming into the game, you're backseating them in chat, telling them that they're terrible and making the experience horrible for them rather than just letting a new player enjoy the fucking game. It's of course nobody wants to stream League. The Twitch chats and just typical stream watching chats have made it unplayable for them.
If we continue to maintain this perception of RTS being a difficult genre, which in my experience tends to be less welcoming to new players, then we will continue to be forever stuck as a small, dedicated, but ever stagnating community. But I mean, as a Grandmaster StarCraft 2 player myself, I really hope that the macro mechanic
spread over every egg.
Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for watching my 10-minute long shitpost, which was not sponsored by Sunspear Games, who have given me 10 keys to the Immortal Gates of Pyre Alpha to give away. To enter, all you have to do is like and subscribe, and talk about an experience you had getting a new player into RTS games. Other than that, I have no new updates except that I'm going to school, unlike fucking none of you people who watch my videos. So you will not be getting a new one unless I'm going to have to shamelessly promote another game company in hopes that they will give me a software development internship in return. Other than that, I will see you next time whenever the fuck that happens. Bye!